What happens if the woman everyone once called Hollywood Sunshine decides she's done laughing off the punchlines made at her expense? The studio was dressed for comfort. Warm lights, soft colors, a crowd ready to clap for anything that felt real enough to touch. Kelly Clarkson beamed behind her couch. Cards fanned out in her hand like a promise that this would be just another easy hour of laughter and nostalgia. But backstage, the tension hummed under the music they piped through the monitors. Cameron Diaz sat alone for a moment before they called her out. Her smile calm, hands folded, eyes watching the floor like she knew exactly when the questions would stop being sweet. The audience clapped when she stepped onto the stage. Kelly stood to hug her, squeezing a little too hard, as if to say, "We're friends, right? This is safe." Cameron sat down. Her smile said, "We'll see." And somewhere behind the applause, you could feel it. This was not the talk show they had promised her it would be. Kelly Clarkson leaned back into her big, easy grin, the kind that had charmed a million daytime watchers into thinking every guest felt safe on her couch. She shuffled her cards, eyes flicking at the audience, then back to Cameron Diaz. "So, girl, I have to ask, it's been years since you were out there on the red carpet every night. Do you ever miss it? The parties, the headlines, the wild side." The crowd laughed, polite, a little too loud, like they were trying to tell themselves this was still harmless fun. Cameron's smile did not shift. She crossed one leg over the other, her hands still folded in her lap. "You know, I don't miss much about that world, Kelly. I like the life I have now. It's quieter, realer." Kelly's grin widened, but her eyes flashed with that quick spark that always came before a guest realized the sweetness could cut. "But come on, you were the original party girl. I mean, you were wild. Everyone says so. That's got to be hard to just turn off, right?" A few gasps slipped through the front row. Cameron's smile cooled a fraction. Her eyes locked on Kelly's in that small, still way that said she saw the hook hiding behind the joke. And in that sudden hush, the audience could feel it. The next word would decide if the show stayed cozy or cracked wide open. Cameron Diaz's laugh slipped out, light but edged just enough to slice through the sticky sweetness of Kelly's grin. She leaned back, hands still calm in her lap, her voice steady enough to hush the giggles that wanted to break the silence. "It's funny how people remember my life for me, Kelly. You'd think they were there, the way they talk about it." Kelly's smile twitched, but she pressed on, her voice pitched high like a friend pretending the blade in her joke wasn't sharp. "Hey, I'm just saying what people think. I mean, you don't get to be that famous and that fun and then act like you've always been this sweet earth mama, right?" The audience shifted. Some laughed, some sucked in air like they knew they'd feel it later. Cameron's eyes never left Kelly's. "What exactly do you think you're asking me, Kelly? You want me to say I was reckless? Messy? Should I perform that for you one more time so you can sell it as real?" Kelly's fingers drummed once on her card stack, her grin flickering at the edges. "Whoa, I'm not trying to make you uncomfortable. We're just talking, girl. People love this stuff, the real dirt, you know." Cameron nodded once, slow. "And it's always more fun when someone else pays the price for your real dirt, right?" The hush that followed was heavier than any applause. The audience could feel it now. The nice set, the warm lights, none of it big enough to hold what Cameron had just decided to say came out too fast, like she was trying to catch it before it fell apart in front of the cameras. She shifted on the couch, flipping her cards over like they might give her the line that would pull this back to safe ground. "Cameron, come on, you know I love you. I'm just giving the people what they want. They want to know if you're still that wild girl underneath all the yoga and homegrown veggies." Cameron tilted her head, just enough for the stage lights to catch the calm in her eyes, a calm that looked nothing like surrender. "And what does that get you, Kelly? A headline? A clip that goes viral because you made me look like a joke I stopped telling years ago?" A few people in the front row let out a quiet mm, not a laugh, not a gasp, just that soft sound people make when they see the knife under the sugar for the first time. Kelly forced her grin wider. "I mean, you gotta admit, you were good TV back then. You're still good TV now." She tried to chuckle, but it caught in her throat. People love a good party story. Cameron's fingers tapped her knee once, the only sign her patience had limits. "You're right. They do. They just never ask what that story cost the person living it. Kelly's eyes darted toward the producer offstage. The cue card lifted, go light. Change topic. But the moment was gone. The audience leaned in, and they could see it plain as day. Cameron Diaz was not going to hand them the version of her that they came for. Not this time. Kelly Clarkson's fingers fumbled the cue cards now, tapping them against her knee like the right question might fall out if she just shook them hard enough. She forced another laugh, but it came out thin, lost before it reached the back row. Okay, well, let's not get all serious, girl. We're just having fun here. It's daytime TV. You know how it is. Cameron's smile returned, but it was different now, the kind that doesn't bend. Yeah, I do know how it is. You sell the idea that you're everybody's friend, that it's all warm hugs and funny stories. But you know what happens when the lights go off? People like me get to carry the punchlines you get paid to make. A ripple moved through the audience, not a gasp this time, but a low hush, like they all realized they'd seen this trick before, but never watched it break apart in real time. Kelly leaned in, her voice higher, her grin fraying. Hey, I'm not your enemy, Cameron. I've been through stuff too. We're the same, strong women. You get that, right? Cameron tilted her head, eyes soft but unflinching. Then you should know better than anyone what it feels like when people don't let you outgrow your worst moment. But here you are, pulling it back like it's your right to put it on display. Kelly's mouth opened, but no words came. The cue cards drooped in her hand. And somewhere behind that bright studio smile, everyone could see it. This was not the conversation the producers promised when they booked the big comeback guest. The air in the studio thinned, not from volume, but from the weight of what wasn't being said anymore. Kelly Clarkson sat frozen for a second too long, her smile stiff, eyes flicking toward the control booth like someone might rescue her from the moment she had built with her own words. A stagehand made a small gesture behind the camera, a soft wave meant to signal a commercial break. But the audience didn't move. They weren't watching a segment anymore. They were watching a line being drawn that couldn't be softened with music or a cheerful fade-out. Cameron Diaz sat straighter now, both feet planted. You don't get to pull me in here with a smile and then box me in with stories I've spent a decade shedding. That's not conversation. That's performance. And I'm not here to audition for a version of myself that doesn't exist anymore. Kelly raised her hands halfway, as if to calm her, but it looked more like defense than peace. Cameron, I didn't mean it that way. I was just. Cameron shook her head, gently. You meant it exactly that way. And maybe you didn't think it would land like this, but I'm not here to play the version of myself you thought I'd be. The room was quiet now. No one clapped. No one looked away. And when Cameron reached down
Diaz
and
stood up
unhooked her
slow.
microphone, the mic
The
still
soft
dangling in her
rang
fingers
louder
like a
than
promise
anything
she
Kelly
would
had
not
said
let
in the
someone
last
else
10
spin
minutes.
into a joke. Kelly Clarkson's smile flickered, stuck between apology and panic, her cue cards now a useless shield in her trembling hand. The stage lights suddenly felt too bright, exposing every crack in the warmth they'd dressed this show in. A nervous laugh sputtered from somewhere in the back row, but it died the second Cameron turned her eyes to the audience. Her voice stayed soft, the kind that lands heavier than any shout. You all came here to see the happy ending, the comeback. But you didn't come here to see the part where a woman stands up for the piece of herself that doesn't belong to the next headline. Kelly's voice cracked, small now. Cameron, don't do this. But Cameron just smiled, kind, but unbending. Do what? Walk away with my truth still mine. That's not drama, Kelly. That's dignity. She set the mic on the coffee table between them, the thunk of it louder than the band waiting backstage for the next upbeat outro. The audience didn't cheer. They didn't clap. They just watched. Phones lifted at waist level, recording the thing they knew the network would try to clip down to something safer later. Cameron looked at Kelly one last time. I wish you'd remembered what that feels like before you try to turn me back into a punchline. But I'm done laughing when it costs me more than it costs you. She stepped off the stage. No hug, no wave, no tidy goodbye. The room stayed frozen, the warmth drained right out the door behind her. By that night, the raw clip was everywhere. Headlines called it a meltdown, a diva move. But the people who watched the uncut moment knew what they'd seen. A woman who had spent years letting others write her mess into a story she never owned, standing up and taking the ending back for herself. And the line that stayed was not the joke Kelly Clarkson had hoped would trend. It was the one that echoed in comment threads, kitchens, and quiet commutes the next morning. That's not drama. That's dignity. Because no matter how they spun it, Cameron Diaz had not been kicked off anything. She had walked out and taken her truth with her.